The most in-character thing I've ever done remains my first week of kindergarten when my teacher left the room to laminate some papers, and I decided that the day was over, so I lined everyone up, and I walked them out the door, and I got halfway to my house before the cops stopped us.
This is why you should never knock on a stranger's door. Once there was a man trying to check into a hotel. The woman at the front desk gave him his key and told him none of the guests are allowed to go into the room across the hall. He agreed, but as he continued to stay in the hotel, he grew more and more curious about the room he wasn't supposed to go in. At one point, he even walked down the hall to that room and tried the door. It was locked. Then he bent down and looked through the keyhole. He saw that it was just the same as his hotel room. But in the corner of the room, there was a woman whose skin was extremely pale, almost a sickly white. Her back was to the wall, so the man didn't see what she looked like. He almost knocked on the door, but then just decided to leave her alone. The next day, he walked past the door again and decided to look into the keyhole. This time, there was no hotel room and no woman. It was all just red. He thought that this seemed really strange, so he went to the front desk and asked about the room. After insisting on an answer, the woman at the front desk told him, "A long time ago, a man killed his wife in that room, and her ghost is still there. But these ghosts are not what you might imagine. They're completely white all over, except for their eyes, which are red."
Tell me your craziest 1-in-a-million story. Something that happened to you that you just can't believe was real.
So my dad always wanted a son. He just kept trying, and he just couldn't give up. I have 3 sisters. He kept trying. And then there was me. I was finally born. I wasn't supposed to be born on the day that I was born. I think my due date was earlier or later. I forget. But my dad, the day that I was born, he had to cancel work. And the day that he had to cancel work, he had a security meet on the 101st floor of Tower 1 of the Twin Towers. And I was born on September 11th, 2001. So my dad didn't go to work that day, and he got a baby boy. Oh.
So, something really strange has been happening. I might sound crazy, I might sound stupid, but I don't care. So, for the past couple of days, I've been, experiencing some weird stuff. I don't know if this is paranormal or not, but whatever. Whenever I walk into a room, something falls. I walk into my room, a pillow will fall. Or a water bottle will fall off of my counter. I go into the kitchen, a fork will fall off the counter, just something like that. And it happens every single time I walk into a room. I don't know if this means anything, or if it's just a coincidence. I'm gonna try to get it on camera, and if I do, I'll post it on my Instagram story. But y'all, what does this mean?
What is this? Because I'm confused, man.
So my boyfriend recently got a new job, right? And at this new job, he met a guy we'll call Christopher. And my boyfriend and this Christopher dude became like really close friends. And my boyfriend loved Christopher. He thought he was so cool. He'd always be like, "Oh my God, Kayla, Christopher is so cool. Christopher this, Christopher that." And, I just thought they were good friends. I thought Christopher was like a homie. Maybe I'd meet him one day. Well, my boyfriend slowly got to know Christopher a little bit more. Found out that Christopher has 11 open police cases. But, no big deal. So one day, my boyfriend goes into work and realizes Christopher isn't there. So he asks his coworkers, "Hey, where's Christopher?" And they're like, "Oh, you didn't hear what happened? He got arrested and put in jail for unaliving somebody and CP. 2 counts of both."
Time when I was in kindergarten, after lunch we always had nap times, and after them we always had to do work. My lazy ass never wanted to do work, so I came up with the idea of pretending like I was sleeping after everyone woke up. The teachers always let the kids sleep in, so it worked out perfectly. So then nap time came and put my plan into action. After everyone woke up, I remained on the floor pretending I was sleeping. After about 2 hours of pretending I was sleeping, I actually fell asleep. The next thing I knew was when I woke up I was in the hospital. I didn't know what happened. I sat up and my mom was sitting by my bed. When she saw me awake, she started crying and called for a doctor. Apparently what happened was one of the kids, probably the freckled bitch in my class, leaned back on her chair and fell backwards and fell with a metal chair on my head, and I didn't wake up, so they called 911. And that bitch put me in a coma.
This is why you should never answer the door late at night. A woman woke up to a knock at her door. When she opened the door, no one was there, so she went back to bed. A few hours later, she woke up again to a loud noise. She looked to her window and saw the word smile written in the frost. She reached over to call 911, but saw that a post-it note was stuck on her phone and it said, "I told you to smile." She ran out of the house, called the police, but nothing was found. The next night, she decided to put a camera in her room. But she could have never predicted what those cameras would show her. At 3 a.m., something crawled out from underneath her bed. It was a tall, pale man with no clothes and bulging veins all over his head. He walked over to the camera until his face took up the entire shot. Then his mouth widened into an unnaturally large smile. He just stared at the camera like that for hours, not blinking. The woman skipped the video until she saw herself getting out of bed and picking up the camera. And that was the last thing the cameras recorded, which meant the man never left her house.
This is why you should never leave the table when you're on a blind date. One of my best friends and I worked at the same restaurant. When I came in later that day for my shift, she told me a crazy story. She said that her first table were this guy and this girl, and she could tell they were on a first date. The girl was nervous, so she ordered a glass of wine. As far as she knew, the date seemed to be going well, and the girl got up to go to the bathroom. Right when my friend was about to come over and bring the silverware, she saw him put something in her wine. My friend, obviously terrified and freaking out, let our manager know, who then let the police know, and ran into the bathroom to tell her what was going on. The girl ended up staying in the bathroom until the police came, arrested him, and escorted him out of the building. It was noon on a Tuesday. You don't think you're going to be drugged at noon?
A little girl made me cry last night. So the coffee shop that I work at also has ice cream. And so this lady had brought in her granddaughter to get ice cream. This little girl's probably about 4 or 5 years old. And she asked for ice cream with sprinkles. And so I absolutely loaded it with sprinkles because she's a kid and I have a heart. And the entire time this girl's eating her ice cream, she just keeps glancing at me. And right before they're about to leave, the grandmother brings her up and says, "Okay, tell her what you wanted to tell her." The little girl looks up at me and goes, "I think you're a princess." And the grandmother goes, "Tell her why you think that." And the little girl looks up at me and goes, "Because you remind me of sunshine."